Hi, I'm Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and I want to talk to you today about my love for tools, for sewing tools, cutting tools. And you know what? It's completely my dad's fault. My dad taught me that if you're going to work on a project, he was a woodworker, but if you're going to work on a project, you need the proper tools to get the best results and to have everything just be more fun and come together more easily. So this is all my daddy's fault. I love sewing tools. Now there are some new rulers from Quilter Select, and I thought I needed to have them because I didn't have them, but I didn't get them right away because I didn't really know why I needed them. Well, I do now, so I want to share that with you. So this happens to be a ruler that is an half ruler. It's 6.5 by 6.5 inches. Now, there's a whole set of and half rulers. So right here I have a 12.5, I have a 2.5, a 3.5, there's an 8.5, there's all sorts of different and half rulers. Now, what makes an and half ruler really good? I was going to say better, but it doesn't make it better than a 6-inch ruler, but it makes it different than a 6-inch ruler. And the reason why is because if you're finishing with a 6-inch block, when you add your seam allowance, you need to have it cut to 6.5. Aha, right? So that really comes in very, very handy. I was recently working on a project using half square triangles, and they started out with charm packs. You cut them in half and then you sew them together and you end up with half square triangles. But then you use a 4.5 ruler to trim them down to size. Because if you start with a charm pack, which is a 5-inch square, and you make it into half square triangles, well then you need a 4.5 ruler to trim it up. So that's when I really fell in love with the half rulers. So I have a little video here, and so I hope you enjoy that. And remember, if you fall in love with these rulers, it's my daddy's fault. Quilter Select makes a lot of great rotary cutting tools. So let's take a look at what makes them different. Let's begin with the mat itself. This particular mat is 18 inches by 12. So it's a perfect size for travel, for beside your machine, but Quilter Select does have a full range of different sizes of mats. They even have one that's large enough for a cutting table. It is numbered on all edges in both ascending and descending order. So it will be 1 to 18 on this edge and 1 to 18. Both of the numbers are displayed on all edges. And this is perfect. So if you like to align your fabric on one side or another, you always have a numbering system that will work for you. All of the products from Quilter Select are both right and left-handed without any adjustments. So this mat works for both right and left-handed people, and again for aligning on either side. Now, the mats are dark on one side and light on the other, and they have a nice foam core in the middle. If you bend your mat or it gets a little out of shape, all you need to do is lay it flat and it will go back to shape. If you have one that you've left in your car or you've stored and it has a stubborn bend in it or curve in it, all you need to do is lay it flat in a warm area, maybe in some sunshine, and then it will go flat for you. The core gives the mat the ability to have some give to it, so when you're using your rotary cutter, it will glide across the mat and have some give, so that way it will cut cleaner. The surface of the mat is actually very smooth. Unlike most rotary cutting mats or mats that you'll find the size for your cutting table, which may have more of a pebbly texture, you will find that this mat will actually cut cleaner and your blades will last longer, which is pretty cool. On here, you also have 30 degree, 45 and 60 degree angles that are marked. So if you're working with bias or other shaped pieces, you can utilize those markings to assist you there. The Quilter Select rulers are also numbered both ascending and descending on all sides. So you have 1 to 12 along this edge and 1 to 12. And all sides are marked in the same way. So this is 1 to 3 and 1 to 3, 1 to 12, 1 to 12. It has the 30, the 50, and the 60 degree angles marked on here. And then it is marked at every 1/8 of an inch, just the way the mat is. Now you'll notice that the ruler itself is a yellow color, so that no matter if you are working with a light colored fabric or a dark colored fabric, you're going to be able to see the measurements and the markings. If you were to have a clear ruler with dark markings, like this has the dark markings, you would find that it's very difficult to be able to read the markings through a clear ruler when you're on a dark fabric. And then also you can see right through the ruler and have a visibility on light colored fabrics as well. The ruler itself has a little bit of a milky appearance to it, and what that is it's a grip surface on the back side that will actually hold on to your fabric. It's not adhesive or gummy in any way. It just has a great amount of grip to it. So when you place your ruler down, it's going to stay where you want it to be, even if you rotate your fabric. And as you know, if you are to cut your fabric and you have a nice, lovely edge here, you don't want to pick up and move the ruler off of that position on your fabric. So you're going to be able to rotate and move your fabric as needed there. So now let's talk about the rotary cutter. It is both left and right-handed, and it is a weighted rotary cutter. It is much heavier than most rotary cutters, but that's a true advantage because instead of having to push as you cut, the rotary cutter is going to do a lot of that work for you. It has a safety blade cover that is on it all the time. And in order to be able to cut, you're just going to push this button right here and then place it down as you were going to cut. And then that blade is open. You don't have to keep holding down the button. Just push it to release and unlatch that, and then you can cut. When you're done, just tip it over and push that cover back into place, and then it is safe to use. If you're left-handed, you can do the same thing. To change your blade, it's actually very, very easy. On the back side, there is a little lever here. You just pull it towards you, and the blade will fall out, and it is actually magnetized, so you don't have to touch the blade. There is a flat side on there that just marries right back up with that shape there, and you push the clip back into place. So very, very easy to change a blade. And in fact, when you're changing the blade, you might choose to just put your finger on that and release it and lift up this way so you don't have to touch that blade. Oh, look, it's a good thing to clean your rotary cutter too. So that's a good way to do that. And then just hold that in place and pop that back into position. Now you're going to find that you get beautiful clean cuts when you're working with the combination of the ruler and the mat and the cutter, because of the weight and because of the surface of the mat and the grippiness of the ruler. Now, another thing that's very unique about the rulers on the mats, these lines actually match directly up between the ruler and the mat. And that is not common at all among rotary cutting tools. So it's a great convenience to have these lines match up perfectly, because then when you're cutting your fabric, truing up edges, you can do so while both aligning to the mat and to the ruler, because they are in sync with each other. So if we're going to cut this, I'm just going to align it where I want it to go, push the button and access the blade, and then just give a nice smooth cut. And I'm going to rotate this to the next side. And you're going to be able to get a beautiful clean cut, and you didn't move your fabric away from the ruler, so you're going to have a perfectly cut piece of fabric. Now, this grip surface on here is awesome when you're working with the fabric cuts and you're cutting from the full 22 inches of fabric with the 24-inch wide ruler. That grip helps keep it from slipping out from underneath you at the far end. So that's a really nice feature. Quilter Select makes rulers in all different sizes. They have little ones and they have really big ones. That's a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. This is a great size if you do units from a jelly roll. There's also a 20 by 20, a nice big ruler if you have big blocks. There's 24-inch long rulers. There's even an 8.5 by 24, which is a really handy size. And then of course there's a 6 by 24 as well. This is a 5 by 5. Perfect size if you want to use patterns for charm packs and you want to cut your own 5-inch squares. And for squaring up a charm pack, a 4.5 by 4.5 is great. So consider getting yourselves a couple of and half rulers in sizes that you think will be valuable. They have a 8.5-inch ruler. So if you are into embroidery and you do embroidered blocks, this ruler might be perfect for you because it will be a perfect way to true up your block before you put it into your project. So 8.5 is great there. 6.5 is perfect if you're ending up with 12-inch finished blocks or 6-inch finished blocks, either one, because two of these go together to make a 12. And that and half provides the seam allowance on all sides. So take a look at the different cutting tools that Quilter Select has to offer. The rulers are very unique with their color and their numbering system and also the grip on the back. The rotary cutting mat is unique. It matches up measurement wise with the rulers and has the bidirectional measurement unit, but it also has a smooth texture and you get very clean cuts, and it's light and dark so you can see your fabric easily whether you're working with light or dark fabric. And the rotary cutter is really a joy to use, and it now comes also in a 60 millimeter blade size, not just a 45 millimeter. So take a look at the Quilter Select products. I know you're going to enjoy them, and they're going to make your quilting a lot more enjoyable and more precise.